Hello. Today I'm going to plant an edible honeysuckle. This is called many things: blue honeysuckle, sweetberry, honeyberry, etc. But as the name suggests, it produces edible fruit. I've picked my spot with care here at the side of this old wood cabin in the garden. It's a sunny spot. So that is today's project. So let's take a closer look. So here we have the hole. It's a decent sized hole. It's actually a lot bigger than our plant. It doesn't necessarily have to be quite that big, but normally we would want a hole that's at least 1.5 or maybe twice the size of the plant pot that we have. Now the first thing we need to do is to fill it up. The plant really needs to arrive about there, needs to get to about this height, just below the level of the soil around it. I always make it slightly lower, so that makes a little saucer, so that when it rains, the rain collects here and it gets plenty of water. This area is very dry, so it's certainly in consideration. So what do we do first? First thing I always do, is my little secret ingredient, is I put some stinging nettles in the bottom. That hopefully will act as a kind of compost or fertilizer, natural fertilizer for our plant. Then we need to put in some good soil. Here, this area is clay, so here I'm adding some better soil which will drain better and will certainly feed the plant. Do a test. Is that the right height? Yeah, that's not bad. So what we can do is take our pot out of its pot, and there we are. Put it like so. Okay, now I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of the soil that was taken out. That will help to inoculate, if you want, the soil that's going in there with some of the natural bugs that were here. They will migrate from the sides too, and then we fill up with more of the good soil. By the way, the plan is to put another one of these of a slightly different variety on the other side of the woodshed to allow for good pollination. It will fruit without a pollinating partner, but it's always a good idea, if you buy something like this, to plant more than one, so that you've got pollination, cross-pollination between the plants, which helps for certainly fruiting. Notice I haven't come any higher than where the plant comes out of its original soil, what I call the collar. And here I have a little basin. What you can do, some people do, is they build up soil around the edges, again to make this little saucer to collect water, or as I do, which is I find slightly easier, I make it slightly lower than the surrounding soil, and we have the same effect. We have a little basin. So there we have our planted edible honeysuckle. Okay, so the honeysuckle is planted. I've given it a good watering at the base, as we do with all plants, and also put a little bit of mulch at the base of the plant to protect the soil beneath it from drying out too much, certainly in hot weather. Now, I've got a few comments to make about planting plants in general, because often we look in textbooks or we see on internet how to plant plants and the perfect growing conditions for any plant. We have to have the right sunlight, we have to have the right type of soil, the right amount of watering, etc., etc. We follow all of these guidelines, and unfortunately the plant dies. It happens. That's nature. That's part of the challenge. That's part of the fun and part of the frustration of gardening. And as I said, sometimes we'll find we have exactly the same plant which is growing literally a matter of meters or yards away in completely different conditions. It's probably not the right soil, not the right exposure to the sun, and it's thriving. So, as I said, that's the pleasure and the frustration of gardening. You have to accept that sometimes there are going to be little failures, but don't give up, keep going. One tip: if you've got more than one plant of a particular type, it's often a good idea to plant them in different locations around your garden. And the ones that are happy, of course, will thrive, and the ones that aren't happy will let you know fairly rapidly. So there we are. Hope that helped. Hope you enjoyed planting an edible honeysuckle. Bye for now.